Hey folks, it's your pal Mike Shea from slyflourish.com and twitter.com/slyflourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy DM Prep. This is a weekly show in which I go through the steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. Why do I have... Oh my god, I'm broadcasting the wrong window. Let's not do that. Let's go here. That was weird. Sorry. So this is a weekly show in which I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, which you can see on the left, while preparing for my weekly Sunday friendly local game shop game, which in this case happens to be Waterdeep Dragon Heist. If you are not familiar with the 8 steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, you can learn more in the links below. I have both a PDF three sample chapters from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, including one that describes the 8 steps. I also have a series of YouTube videos, including one video that quickly summarizes all 8 steps, and then one video for each of the 8 steps. Those are available on YouTube. You can link to those. You can see the links to those down below as well. I do not, and if you aren't familiar with it, you'll probably catch up, but I'm not going to be describing them in detail in this video. This video is brought to you by the fine backers of the Sly Flourish Empire on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/slyflourish, I think that has an underscore. Let's see if I can find it. No underscore. Patreon.com/slyflourish. If you go to that site, you can become a patron of Sly Flourish. Your funding helps produce shows like this, and it helps me record videos, and it helps keep the Sly Flourish Empire alive. Website, bandwidth, costs for Amazon servers, all those sorts of things are covered by the fine folks who are supporting me on Patreon. If you back me on Patreon, you can also get sneak previews of things that are coming up, one of which I'm going to talk about now, which is my new book that I'm going to be kickstarting next week called Fantastic Adventures, Ruins of the Grendelroot. I will probably do an entire show just talking about this book once the Kickstarter is launched. But let's see. Let me find some. A pro would have been prepared for this kind of thing. But here we are. Fantastic Adventures 2. There we go. Let's drop that in there. Ruins of the Grendelroot. In fact, why throw in that one? Let's put in this one. That kind of looks okay, right? It's a little off. Let's scrunch that window down a little bit. There we go. Fantastic Adventures, Ruins of the Grendelroot is a book of 10 underground adventures. Very similar in format and structure to the original Sly Flourish's Fantastic Adventures. These are designed to be very easy to prepare and easy to run. They're each running about 2 to 4 hours each, with some flexibility in there and some options for flexibility inside the adventures to get them to run in the time that you want to run them. They are all set in a mysterious mountain filled with ancient ruins and a strange alien sentience known as the Grendelroot. That giant spire right in the center, for example, is a spire of the Grendelroot, and there are thousands of such things all throughout the mountain. It all surrounds an outpost of exploration known as Deep Delver's Enclave. Deep Delver's Enclave is a small outpost in the middle of an underground ruined city called Shadowreach. And the people of Deep Delver's Enclave are a cheery sort. They enjoy exploration. This is an optimistic place where they have parties all the time, and they're all excited to explore the ruins of the mountain, as your characters will be. So if you want to see more about Ruins of the Grendelroot, including the playtest adventure, you can back me on Patreon, where I think it was last month's note included a playtest of the free adventure that will be available. And that adventure will be available to everyone next week when the Kickstarter launches. It is a first-level adventure set in the mountain. The mountain is known as Black Claw. Seems like these locations might be fantastic. They are fantastic. If I've tried to throw anything in here, it is the fact that, let's see, I'll throw some other cool art in here. It is the fact that there's a picture of, that is Deep Delver's Enclave. And that is Star Song Tower in the background. And to the left, hidden in the shadows, is a statue of one of the 9 mages of the Magocracy of the Black Star. You'll have to learn all about that as we go. So if you want to know more about things like that and previews, you can either wait till next week, in which case you'll see the Kickstarter and you'll learn all about it, or you can back me on Patreon. So it is a fun time, stressful time, I'll tell you. Launching a Kickstarter is no joke, and getting everything ready is no joke, but I think we're in a good spot, and it's going to be a great adventure. We have a lot of artwork already in. The whole book is written. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the whole thing in a whole other show. So let's get back to the matter at hand, which is preparing for Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Look at all the folks in the chat channel. By the way, our co-host here today is Maliki. Maliki is drinking some water. We have another co-host as well that we adopted yesterday, another cat, a tuxedo cat, whose name is Carson. However, Carson is still figuring things out and is quite the handful right now. He is all crazy meowy and climbs over everything. So we figured probably not ready for the show yet. We have not yet introduced the 2 cats. They have seen each other, but they're in separate rooms. So Maliki is in here with me, while Carson is out hanging out in the rest of the house. Maliki will probably at some point jump up in the back. You want to come up here? We'll come up and say hello. Come on up and say hello to everybody. There you go. Here's Maliki. Yeah, Maliki's a good sort. She is real calm. She's a great one. Carson's crazy. Carson's a handful. I got all kinds of scratches from Carson. Christy Ray says, I just ran session 0 of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Awesome. Native DM says, I met my girl, will be interested in those parties. I don't think they'll be interested if you're talking about the one in the lower right. I'm probably not in those parties. Although there are lots of parties in Deep Delvers Enclave. My mom is here. Hello, Mom. Everyone say hello to my mom. And everyone else is here. Good. We got a nice show. Good group of folks today. Let's go. Let's see. Oh, I had the hell of a summer picture. I like this picture. All right. We have some work to do today because I am totally unprepared for my game, and my game is going to be doing some crazy stuff. So if you recall from, or even if you don't, oh, Maliki already went down. Hello, Maliki. I'm a big fan of setting up situations and letting the players decide how they are going to interact with those situations. So last week we ran through the middle part of chapter 4. Let's make sure I got that right. Yeah, so they went through Fireball, they got through Growlhound Villa, and they started the chase, which became much more of an investigation. And if you recall from last week, I abbreviated the chase and made it less so of a chase. It actually ended up becoming a chase, but I'm not a big fan of trying to presuppose how an adventure is going to go. So I just said, here's the situation that is going to take place. And it was a complicated situation, but that's what makes the situation kind of fun. And the complicated situation is that Erstal Floxen, the Zentrum assassin, had the Stone of Galore. He got it from the gnome. He went to Growlhound Villa. He yelled at them. There was a big fight at Growlhound Villa. He teleported away and ended up at the mausoleum in the City of the Dead in Waterdeep. He handed the stone over to 4 cultists that work for the Cassalanters because he was worried that if anybody saw him, it could be problems. So he wants to separate himself from the stone. He gives it to these cultists. 2 of the cultists kill the other 2 cultists. They're actually employed by the Zentrum, or he got bought out by the Zentrum or something like that. Probably got bought out. And he... 2 of them killed the other 2 and took the stone and planned to sell it to the Zentrum. They went to the old windmill where they planned to sell it to the Zentrum, but the Cassalanters sent 3 spined devils to intercept it. And the spine devils found the cultists before the Zentrum got there. They murdered the cultists, they took the stone, and they flew it across the city, where it fell into the waiting hand of the Cassalanters' butler, Williford Crawley. Williford Crowley and his bodyguard, a powerful Cambion bodyguard, were going to take it back to the Cassalanters at that point. They figure it had switched enough hands that no one's really paying attention. However, on the way, they were ambushed by the 3 kids, which you can see. I think they are in every picture here. Or maybe they're not in this picture. Three young street urchins jacked them by collapsing the road in front of them. They had cut like a big ditch and put a big tarp over it, and the cart went into the ditch. Everybody got thrown forward, and a young girl came running through, grabbed the stone and a bag of money, and then ran into the cellars. Erstal Floxen saw this happen. He'd been watching the cart to make sure everything went smooth, and he saw it happen, and he went, "Oh, for crying out loud, I'm going to have to go in there again." So Erstal Floxen chases the kids into the cellars. He wounds two of them, including poisoning the girl with his wyvern poison, and takes the stone from her and leaves. He then goes to the Cassalanters with the stone in hand and made it to the Cassalanters. The characters got involved in a couple of different spots. The first one is they came to the aftermath of the cultists having been killed by the other cultists. They learned about the windmill. They went to the windmill, and they found two of the three spine devils there. One of the characters, let me drop over to, I know I'm dumping info, but people like to hear about summaries. Uranus, the fiendish warlock, sent his imp to go chase the other spine devil, and it did so. And it saw the spine devil drop off the stone, but it's not exactly able to do anything about it. He kept thinking, like, maybe I could try to steal the stone, but he couldn't really find a chance. So the imp that, Uranus's imp, named Akoth, saw almost everything happening while the party is trying to get there to stop it. And they got there and they saved the girl before she died from the wyvern poison. Now the two street urchins now work at Trollskull Manor. They seem to just hire everybody. What are you doing down there? What's going on down there? You got a mouse? Got a little stuffed mouse. Get that mouse. Want that? Want that mouse? We're going to put it up here so people can see it. So they lost the stone. They did face off against the demon that worked for the butler, who I thought looked kind of like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the young version of Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula, but was actually Cambion. I think I kept switching between a bearded devil and a Cambion. I couldn't decide. I think it ended up being a Cambion. It's like a half devil. And anyway, so they found out, yes, the stone was taken. But what was interesting is the way that investigation worked out. They were hoping to get the stone, but they weren't terribly disappointed that they didn't get it. Like, I think the players, there were only 3 players. So it was an abbreviated set, and they knew they were hurt. And they're like, if we have to face off against these guys, we're going to get killed. And they kind of knew that. So they weren't too upset about the way things turned out, which was good. Like, you don't want the characters, the hard part, and I think I talked about this last time, you have, idiot, there's the false trichotomy, right? There's 3 ways, there's probably many ways that the chase can work out, but there's really kind of 3 ways that come to mind. And one is the character, the villain gets away with the stone, and the characters don't get a chance to stop it. For example, if the characters rest before they go explore, they will lose track of the stone. 2 is they circumvent it by like casting hold person on the guy who's running away in like scene 1 of 8, and they get the stone right away. And the book accounts for this by saying like the stone doesn't want to be found and it's kind of a pain in the ass, but that's not exactly a great motivation either. And then 3rd is that the chase actually goes the way it goes. And in my opinion, the first and the second one are way more likely than the 3rd. And in our case, in case of me running it, it still had a chase, but instead of the chase being directed by the actions of the characters, it's the stone is moving through hand to hand. Yeah, Navy DM said it always feels cheap. It does feel cheap. I've never run anything like that, and I wouldn't run it the way it is. So, to me, more interesting is to develop the situation, which is the one I described about what happened to the stone. If you think about all those steps that the stone went through, none of those involved the characters. The characters got involved where they could. So they got involved early on. They found remnants of what was happening, and then later, when they sent Akoth in, they saw more of what was happening, and they almost got the stone. So one thing is like, man, that imp hurt Erstal Floxen a lot. It hit him with his poison, and he was not visible, and the imp was invisible, so the imp got advantages on attacks. Now, he eventually pinned the imp to a wall with one of his daggers and killed it, and that kind of ended the thing. And it also stopped the eyes from seeing it. But the imp did manage to save the 2 kids. So I think it's funny that a devil saved 2 kids. There's a cat climbing a thing behind me. There you go. There's your mousey. Hey, you found your mousey. She's such a sweetie. You can see her. Look at her go. All right. So, so that worked out well. So the problem is, mouse fell out. So now The stone is with the Cassalanters. So the start of this game is the knowledge that the stone, I know it's not the strong start exactly, but we now know that the stone is with the Cassalanters. So what happens next? And I think we're going to start by diving into our secrets and clues. What are the 10 secrets that the characters might discover? And we want to have a few of these ready to go, because this is mostly where the characters are going to find out what's going on. So what is a secret and clue? Cassalanters. All right. People in Twitch, help me out. What is the Midsummer Festival that goes on in Waterdeep? There's a whole thing about holidays, and I don't feel like looking them up. Who could tell me what the main summer holiday is in Dragon Heist? Well, I enjoy some coffee. Founders Day. I think I already had Founders Day. What's the next one after Founders Day? Is there one after Founders Day? I might have already run it. Because I think Founders Day happened at the beginning of the adventure. Maybe DM says Midsummer. So we're going to call it the Midsummer Festival. That's good enough. The Cassalanters are running a Midsummer Festival at their house. What do we call it? A party, right? And all sorts of people are invited. They plan... They plan to get the gold in 5 days. They're kind of getting everything ready and sort of putting together a group and sort of separating themselves and laying low for 5 days until they go get it. What else? I think their butler. So I forget. Is Asmodeus with an S or a Z? I suck. I asked the same question last week. You'd think I'd get it eventually. Uh-oh. Cat's screwing with the mic. Let me know if my mic drops or something weird happens. Cat's behind my computer screwing with things. Boot. Boot. The Cassalanters want to use the bunny to buy out of the contract with Asmodeus. So their motivation has changed. They wanted power, and now they don't want power anymore. They just want the souls of their children back. And I think that's a fun, they're still kind of evil, and they did some terrible stuff. So, they're not without sin, but their kids are. It's S. Thank you. What else is going on? I think that Williford... Williford plans to kill everyone at the party. He knows... he thinks they went weak. What are you doing down there? Grab my boot. Get that, mousey. I'm taking that mousey and I'm putting it up here. Williford believes that the Cassalanters have grown weak, and therefore he's going to run something on his own. Bunch of cultists in the employ of the Cassalanters, but some are loyal to Williford. I think the Open Lord is planning to come. And those aren't really secrets. But I think that in the situation we might have, it might be that everyone. So when we think about our scenes, these are more like scenes, right? So there's a midsummer festival at the Cassalanters. The Open Lord is going to be there. The Blackstaff is going to be there. Jarlaxle. Big party with everybody showing up. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, so lots of things going on there. But so one of the things, so the situation is there's a big party going on. So one big secret is where the hell are they keeping the stone? And so where are they keeping the stone? I like the idea that the stone cannot be scried upon, but when you try to scry for it, it sort of leaves a hole where it is. So you can sort of triangulate roughly. It's a nice way of saying, like, well, you can kind of figure out that there's like a hole, and the better the Arcana check, the more likely you can sort of triangulate where this hole is. There's sort of a hole in the weave where the stone is. I think that... so one of the things I think is cool is that both Jarlaxle and Zardoz Zord will be there, but here's a secret that they can learn. So one of the things I like is that JB Nevercaught and Zardoz Zord, one of them is Jarlaxle and one of them is a doppelganger, and they change roles. So they will switch between the two of them from time to time. And I don't even know which one's which. And that way the characters can't know which one's which either. They're like, well, we're not sure. I think that Williford Crowley is also a... You need to carry it forward as a secret, but there's always a whole stone being an aboleth. Yeah, I think they'll figure that out once the... Is it a petrified aboleth? Something like that? It has an abolithic sentience in it. The eyes will kind of turn and look at people. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. What else do we have? He's just transformed. So we need to actually stop for a moment and let's look at the Cassalanters. So we have hell of a summer. I should have read this chapter ahead of time, and I didn't. My window is too big. Way too big. There we go. I know all this. Osvaldo. Osvaldo has been chained into a devil. So they are, my little thing here is not so bad, except that they're planning on murdering everybody is a little weird. Yeah, the sacrifice of 99 souls in one fell swoop. I think we're going to change that from Amalia and give that to someone else, and that way Amalia doesn't look like such a villain. So that will work. Hello, kitty. Don't mess with the microphone. So here's some lore. So this is their version of like Secrets and Clues, right? Like, this is not exactly the most unique system, the Secrets and Clues. What's the lore? You can learn the 100 times. Eldest son disappeared. Only living lord. There's a kitty tail. Come here, you. Kitty transplant. There she goes. We have the twins. We have Williford Crowley. Oh, there's a whole bunch of like NPCs in here. A bunch of cult fanatics. Those are pretty good. We can drop them in. They're really hard. Don't try to break them. And then we have the villa. So here's the villa. They have some veterans. They have bearded devils all throughout the. That's pretty cool. Big bearded, these crazy looking bearded folk. Oh, I hear Carson is outside meowing at the door. Carson wants to be wherever Carson can't go. So the house is full of bearded devils. So let's see. That's kind of, is this still? Yeah. So another secret. I got a lot of secrets in this one, but this is that like build the situation. So let me step back and talk more about this, right? So the idea we have here is I'm prepping for a game. It's going to be 3 hours long. It's probably going to be a couple of sessions. I don't think they're going to get through it in one session, but you never know because I don't know how this is going to go. And that's actually one of the tricks is especially if you're planning on like sessions taking a certain amount of time, you kind of don't know when you're leaving the situations open like this. But the idea is the stone is somewhere in the Cassalanter's house. The characters don't know where it is. There's a big party going on, and that is their opportunity to break into the house and try to get the stone from the Cassalanters, right? That's sort of the drive. But then there's another thing like, do we really want to take the stone from the Cassalanters because their children will die, you know? No, they won't die. Their souls will be taken. It's even worse. So there's little tidbits here and there, but generally it's a heist, right? Now, hey, look, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. We already have a heist, and the heist is go steal. Cat's trying to get in. We might have a problem if the cat pushes the door open. We might have we actually have a heist in Dragon Heist. Something it's kind of missing. Which is cool. But the way to do a heist is here's the situation, here's the stone, here are a bunch of guards, here's a bunch of stuff going on. As a DM, we have to kind of improvise heavily with what the setup is. You got to think of it like it's a big sandbox. That reminds me, I need to print a map. Why don't I do that? So let's get the player version of the map here. I promised them that they would get a map. Oh, where's my parchment paper? Oh, I don't have any parchment paper. I must use authentic, rustic parchment paper. I lost it. We will use this sheet. It's a little wrinkly. We'll see if it works. This might freak out a cat. Print. That looks good. Print. Hey, kitty sleeping. This is the map. So the character's actually going to have a map. See if my printer jams. Oh, cat is very interested in what's going on with the printer. Hey, look at that. Nice. Parchment map. All ready to go. Now, the key is not to forget to bring this, which I often do. I wish I had a big format printer. Dyson is a treasure. Dyson is a hero in our industry. Dyson, by the way, DysonLogo.com. He is the cartographer for Waterdeep Dragon Heist and I think he also is the cartographer for Secret of Saltmarsh or Ghost of Saltmarsh. And he has like hundreds of maps available. If you click on all maps, look at this. You just get bang. Look at all the maps. Oh, so many maps. Oh my God. If you ever need a map, there it is. Yeah, Mike Schley did the town. Did Saltmarsh itself, which is great. Anyway, so Dyson did this map. Very printable. You saw I just printed it out on a piece of parchment paper, and now I'm all set, ready to go over my game. But they don't know what room is what, so that could be kind of interesting. So there are, wow, a lot of rooms in this place. And I'm probably not going to read all these things. Oh, the Black Viper is here too. There's a lot of people. Everyone's here. I forgot about the Black Viper. I wonder what her goal is. I think she just wants to steal it for herself. She thinks she could take it. Oh, that coffee is so good. Man, I love French press coffee. Dyson, Blando, and Schley are the current top 3. Yeah, they are. And I love the other 2. But one thing Dyson does is he makes a lot of his maps available for commercial use for free, which is incredible. And it's like a huge resource for the DMs Guild. It's a great way to, if you want to write adventures for the DMs Guild, grab some Dyson, and Kobold Press has done this with good success. Go grab a Dyson map and write up your own rooms for it. And now you've got a professionally done map that's equal to the quality that you would find in Wizards of the Coast's products. Only you get it for free. So really interesting way to be creative and to make stuff and not go broke. Cassalanter's private library. I'm not going to read through all this. I should read through all this before my game. We'll see how that goes. But the situation itself is that the characters have to break in. I guess the big question is, where would they, because this place is huge, where would they keep the stone? Where's the map? So, it would be hard to get to. It could be in their cellar vault, C27, 6, 8, and 9. So let's go look at those. I mean, that's possible where it is. Cellar, door the cellar. It's a cold trap. And a secret vault. Asmodeus Temple. So is the Asmodeus Temple a different place? Oh, wow. Yeah. Holy cow. There's a whole different map. Oh, my God. So this could take forever. I think, this might be pretty cool, which is like they have to make their way down in here and they got to deal with all the stuff in the cellar. I didn't even know about this whole place. I didn't know that there was a whole separate dungeon. Cult gatherings, family crypt. Oh, there's all kinds of terrible things down here. Ooh, plate armor and Mace of Disruption. Ooh. Bunch of cultists. More cultists. 30 human cultists. That's if they're... So, but is this where they would store... Where would they... It's in area C6. In Victorio's office. So this is where the stone would be. But I'm wondering if it's better down in that vault. Because, like... hidden shrine to Asmodeus that's hidden behind a false shrine to a good aligned god. That's pretty cool. Fun secret to reveal for them as well. The most secure room is the one with the chain devil in it. Keep it with their chain devil son. But I don't... Does the chain devil... So where is the chain devil? Oh, he's in C24. And C24 is... Oh, I don't have it. In the attic, yeah. I think we're going to move him to the basement. So he could be in a vault down in the cellar, and they could have placed the stone in the cellar. And the only person who can get it could be, whoops. CR8. Ooh. So maybe if they want to take it, yeah, I think it attacks everyone except Lady Cassalanter. Amalia, right? That's a secret. Look at all these secrets. Cool stuff. Chain Devil in the attic. I have him trapped in a circle instead of his own chains in the stone. I think that he might be in a vault down below. He might be in a vault down below, and the only person that he will not attack on sight is Amalia, and she brought the stone to him, and now it's in his vault with him, and she knows she can just walk in and get it. And her husband could probably get it too because he's powerful, but you probably have to fight him back. And so I think that would be, and that's another secret, right? She tries to soothe Osvaldo down in the tomb that transformed. She still thinks part of her son's soul is in the Chain Devil, and so she spends time down there to wait for the characters to learn that where the thing is. You'll notice that these secrets are not attuned anywhere. They're not tied to any particular place. I think this is something that often comes up when I talk about secrets and clues. I bring it up, but I think it's worth reinforcing. I don't know how the characters are going to find this stuff out. Now, like in this case, I've got like 20 secrets, right? It's a lot of secrets going on. But I don't know how the characters are going to find them. I don't know if they're going to find them all. In previous episodes, I talked about the fact that I usually spill about half of them. So about half of them never actually come up. But half of them do. And, I really don't know how they're going to play out. So these are really good examples of these, right? I don't know how these things are going to pop up. I don't know how people are going to learn that Williford Crowley is a doppelganger. I don't know how they're going to find out about Amalia spending time down in the cellars. We improvise that. That's the key. We can improvise the circumstances under which they find these clues, but it's harder to improvise the clue itself. So that's why we plan them ahead of time. I hope that makes sense. I'm leaning back, so I'm bringing my mic forward. What else do we have going on? So we have monsters. I have NPCs. I'm keeping the same list of NPCs because there's a lot of them in this adventure. Monsters, we have a lot of devils, right? Those are the big ones. And then we have the two of them. So let's look at there. So she is a 5th level, what? Is she warlock? No, she looks like a wizard. Yeah, she's a straight wizard. 9th level spellcaster. She's pretty tough. Confusion, Stone Skin, Hold Monster. Those are pretty powerful spells. Oh yeah, the Kobold Press Devils. Are there any devils in there that we should bring in? We'll take a look. That's a good idea. I think it'd be fun to bring some. Let me just finish studying the stat blocks a little bit and getting a general idea. She doesn't have anything weird. Bunch of, it looks like a high level mage. A little bit different spell lineup than a mage. And then Victorio Cassalanter. He's a badass, right? So what is his? He's a half-elf. I didn't know they were half-elves. He looks like a straight spellcaster. Wow, I can cast 8th level spells. Earthquake seems a bit much. Divine Word. That's a killer. Divine Word's bad. Because it's a bonus action and you kill people who are down. Yeah, he's got a lot of different spells. He can summon a devil. Summon a barb devil. I don't know about those spells. He does heal. He's got a strange set of spells. I guess he's a cleric. Okay, he's not a wizard. He's a cleric. That's why his spells are the way they are. That makes sense. Interesting. Man, Divine Word is bad. By the way, if you ever are running Tiamat, here's a little tip for you for Tiamat. And you want to be a bastard and have Tiamat wipe the party. The way Tiamat can easily do so is to hold back. So Tiamat is a challenge 30 monster. Tiamat can hold back her legendary breathings. You probably want to use cold and fire. Because the other ones, you can use the other ones, but cold and fire hits basically everybody, and unless they're resistant to fire, and it's 91 damage for fire and 72 damage for cold. The dragon can use, I think a breath weapon is 2, so they can basically do 2 breath weapons and a bite on legendary actions. Have her hold her legendary actions until right before her turn. So she should do 1, 2 turns back, 1 turn back, and then it's her turn. And breathe cold, and then a character goes, and then she breathes fire, and that will, between the cold and the fire, it's like 91 and 72. What is that? 163 points. So she'll do like 163 points of damage to a whole bunch of characters. She'll probably drop somebody, right? And then she gets a bite before that. She'll probably drop somebody, and then the first thing she does on her turn is she does her bite and her multi-attack, which is what? 3 attacks, 2 claws and a bite, 2 claws and a tail. So she claws 2 people for 24 each, tails someone for 28, and then as a bonus action, cast Divine Word, DC 26. So after she's done 163 points of damage to everybody, then she dishes out another 48 and 28, 68, 70, 76 points. She does another 76 points on top of that to somebody, probably drops them, and then cast Divine Word. And Divine Word, for anybody that's at 20 hit points or fewer, it kills them instantly. And it's an area, a 30-foot area around her. And that's a bonus action. So she is really lethal when you do that. So that's what, if you want to know what Divine Word is good for, yeah, and Barador says, I mean, she's Tiamat. Yeah, but a tricky bit about running Tiamat, look at that art, isn't that art great? A tricky bit about running Tiamat is like, we DMs aren't as smart as Tiamat is. So you got to kind of know what to do. And to me, that's like if you want to kill people. If you don't want to kill people, then don't use the Divine Word, because it can be kind of a dick move. But if you want to wipe a party out, like I ran a thing called the Tiamat Takedown where like my goal was really to wipe the characters out. And I didn't know how to do that yet. Somebody brought up, let's take a look at... I need my 5 D&D, 5e. Cobalt Press gets their own directory, and they get a directory just for their Lair Assault stuff. We're going to drop this up here. Let's go with Tome of Beasts, and let's go with Creature Codex. Where's the Creature Codex? Creature Codex. And let us flip over here. So we'll start with Tome of Beasts. We are looking for Delt. Look at the art in this thing, man. So Brian Syme. You want a secret? So Brian Syme here did that piece of art. Right? Very cool. Let me show you another piece of Brian Syme artwork. We have, I love this one. We'll go with the JPEG. Look at that guy. That is Balin the Beardless, elder of Deep Delver's Enclave and patron of the characters in the book, Ruins of the Grendelroot. If for those of you who have played the original Fantastic Adventures, This is Ruth Willowmane. She was the former sheriff of White Sparrow. She has now retired and is an adventurer down in Deep Delver's Enclave herself. Here is Odra Windvane. She's another character. And Alvana Heverax. These are all by Brian Syme. Brian Syme is doing all of the character art inside Runes of Grendelwood. Here's another cool picture. Look at that. Yeah. All kinds of spoilers. Anyway, it's always cool to see Brian Syme stuff, and I'm super excited that he's doing work. I got introduced to Brian Syme through Mark Radel. Mark Radel is the art director for all of the books that Kobold Press does, and he is the art director for Runes of the Grendelwood as well. He did the page design. I'll give you another little sneak preview. I hope you guys don't mind the sneak previews. Getting a lot of spoilers. Yeah, there's a cover. He did the design for the book, so this is what the book looks like. See the cool like Grendelroot growths out the side, and there's flavor text and stuff like that. This is an early draft of the free PDF that'll be coming out. There's Balin the Beardless, and there's Starsong Tower. That's the first adventure location. The maps are being done by Elvin Tower. He's fantastic, and he's doing all of the maps in this book. So all of the main art, such as this guy right here, is being done by Jack Kaiser, who I adore. He did the cover for Return and the workbook. He did a lot of the art in Fantastic Adventures. He also does a lot of art for Shadow of the Demon Lord. And he's doing all of the half-page pieces and the 2 covers, which you saw for Grendelroot. And then Brian Syme is doing all of the character art, like this guy. And Elvin Tower is doing all of the maps. That is an example of one of the maps. Let's see if I have another map I can show you. I have 7 of the maps done so far. There's another map. Sorry, they're big. One of the stretch goals will be to get all of the maps ready and formatted for Roll20. So you can drop them right into Roll20 or anything else. You could even print them out on a poster if you wanted. The dungeon designs for these are all generally 7 to 9 rooms so that you can get through them in a session. And they almost always have multiple paths. I think every one of them has multiple paths to get into it. So every one of them is built sort of as the situation going on in a place. And then the characters can decide how they want to interact with that situation. This one's pretty cool too. You guys are getting all the spoilers today. This one's for Shatter. Sorry, big image. I don't think it's downloading. Oh, my wife is giving the cat upstairs the angry duck. Oh, slow. Sorry. You'll see why it's slow though when I zoom in. Look at that big skull with the spires coming out of its mouth and eyes. I love that. The Forest of Iron. It is known as the Forest of Iron because you see this like forest down in the lower right corner. All of that is made out of Grendelroot stuff, which is like black iron, but it is invulnerable. It cannot be broken. So you have an entire fern grove full of ferns that if you fell into them would shred you to nothing. That's why it's so big. It's like that's the resolution of it. And there's a secret spinal entrance. Isn't that cool? I'm so proud of this stuff. I can't wait to get you guys to see. All right, so we're looking at Devils. Sorry about that. I got caught in my own stuff. Oh, look at this thing. I think it's weird that the I forget why. Something to do with the way the PDF was formatted. There's a devil. Look at that devil. Devils. We'll just skip right down to Devils. Animal Lords. God, this book is huge. Which queen? What is that thing? Oh, that's Darrow. Well, we have a bunch of Archdevils. Look at these guys, CR22. Boy, there's no lacking in like high challenge rating devils now. Fire Imp Devil. That's kind of cool. The Infernal Knight. Oh, look at him, CR16. I can't throw one of those guys in. That'd be pretty powerful, though. Infernal Knights. Winds are... Ooh, that's kind of cool. Maybe there's one of these. Winds Harp. Might be a cool thing to find down, and this is something that the Cassalanters would have. Dampier. Those are the only devils. Oh, bummer. Okay, so not a lot of devils in this one. Mostly devil lords. Archdevils. So let's go to... I already screwed up. Document... Whoops. Documents. D&D. 5e. I think there's a lot of devils in Tome of Beasts. Tome of Beasts. Oh, that's the one I had up. Devils. This is one that I started to pull. There's an Automata Devil. Oh, look at that thing. Wow. He's got all kinds of claws and stuff. Oh, he's all mechanical. I had something like this in my Shadow of the Demon Lord game. a Chort Devil. Pleasing forms to entice mortals. Crystalline Devil. These are all real high challenge. I had the Gilded Devil. I brought that guy in. That was pretty awesome. An Ink Devil. An Ink Devil might be interesting because it could be work in the contract. Like it could be sent here to make sure that the Cassalanters stay on their contract. Harvest Devil. I think there was an interesting story about how the Harvest Devil ended up not looking like it was supposed to look. Like it was bipedal and was supposed to have... It has too many arms or something like that from the original design. I love Lunar Devils, man. This is right out of Lovecraft. I love these guys. I brought them. I use those in my Storm King's Thunder game. Orboros, another challenge 14. Look at those guys. Big Horse Devil. Ooh. Salt Devils. And then dinosaurs. Snark Knight says, I've greatly enjoyed the Tome of Beasts. I use the Clockwork Creatures for Warforged and Eberron. Yeah. Maybe the harp guards the room before the Chain Devil. That could be a good idea. That works. Yeah, so this is Tome of Beasts and Creature Codex, both by Kobold Press. They are awesome books. And I really, Mike Shea waxes philosophy. See the Sleepy Kitty? Sleepy Kitty doesn't care about my philosophies. I feel like, well, you never want to say this because like people are coming out with cool stuff. But I know that when I think about what I want to make, I probably don't want to make monsters. Because I'm not a monster designer. I don't really get into that. I was for 4E. I was a huge monsters designer in 4E. And I don't want to start riding the upward slope of the Dunning-Kruger effect. But I bet you I could get into monster design. I did some monster design with Sly Flourish's Vampires. But there's so many monsters out there. I don't think we need to design them anymore. I mean, I don't want to say no because there's lots of people that have very successful Kickstarters for D&D monsters. But there's a lot of really good monster books out there. So I'll say this. I'll say this strongly, which is as a DM with limited time, you probably don't want to spend it making monsters. I know it's exciting and people like to do it. But boy, there are so many out there. Just comb through some, you reskin, Snark Knight says, I agree with you, but I would love to buy a PDF of the hardcover adventure monsters. I don't know what that means. Oh, like a PDF that has all the monsters that are inside the hardcovers. Would you make an article with all of the books you recommend? I should do that. I had one, like it was best third-party products or my notable third-party products. But really, go to Kobold Press because they're the best. I think I did a survey on it and everyone said that they like them the best. There's a lot of really other good publishers out there and they're making some amazing stuff. So I don't want to discount what everybody else is doing. But Kobold Press is really head and shoulders above, they're just amazing stuff. They have so many. like Kobold Press is what I don't even pretend to aspire to what they do. I aspire to make a product that is equal in quality to what they do, and I do so by using their same art director and their artists and stuff. But Wolfgang and I, he supports what I do, and we're not competing. Shop. I'm just going to the Kobold Press site here. So they have all the Warlock stuff, but like, yeah. So this is one that like player options. Yeah, people talk about character options, and my wife and I have recently been reading the Midgard. He has so many. Look at all the stuff he's got. 12 peculiar Midgard sagas, 5 published adventures. Like, it's so many great stuff. Deep magic. So much great stuff. I probably want to get that Zobek Gazetteer. I might buy that. So Midgard World Book, right? And the Midgard Heroes Handbook. Probably worth it for the hardcover and PDF for $40. But the Heroes Handbook has, and I've got a copy sitting here somewhere. I've got all my Kobold Press stuff. Kobold Press is just great. And there are tons of new races and class options and all sorts of stuff in here. So when people feel like we're not getting enough from Wizards of the Coast when it comes to character options, Kobold Press has you covered. Between this and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. They have a whole bunch of new circles of spells, all kinds of really great stuff. I recommend the 5th edition Book of Lairs, a fantastic book that includes something I wrote for them. Oh, look, there's the Rat Gang. Did I do that? I didn't do the Rat Gang one, but I did write for that one. I wrote which one here? Yeah, the Den of the Rotten Kings. That was mine. I thought that was a fun adventure. I've written a couple things for Kobold Press, and lately I've just been kind of writing on my own. But great stuff. So if you want anything, and their source book is fantastic. Like the World Book for Midgard is really great. It's another sort of all-inclusive. If you're looking for an alternative to Forgotten Realms and you want a really deep, rich, wide world, the book is enormous. It's this great big. I'm looking on my shelf to see if I've got it. Huge book, full of stuff. Oh man. The reduction of character options both has been extremely beneficial. I don't think, well, it may be an unpopular opinion, Navy DM, but I totally agree with you. I said the same thing on Twitter after a conversation I had with James Intercasso about it, where I felt like my question was, if we're looking at the growth of 5e, what indicators would we have that it's going down? Mostly from like a business standpoint, at what point do we need to like think about, how is D&D going to go down? And but one of the things that both came up is well, if they start doing a lot of character bloat, then that would be this is kind of cool. Here's a Midgard map that is zoomable like Google Maps. Where's my favorite part? I love the Western Wastes. Is this the Western Wastes? Vale Turog. Yeah. And I forget, there's like a city. Great stuff. They have Western Wilderness and Goblin Waste, but I thought there was a place called the Western Wastes. Maybe that's this whole place. Or is it this place? No, that's the mountains. I like this because this is where like your Cthulhu monsters wander around. They have a bunch of like goblin stuff, but then they also have these Cthulhu stuff. This is a really neat adventure location. I like it. It's sort of like a wasteland. But there's also the Magocracy of Elaine. I think is it a city called Elaine that's right around here? And I love the Magocracy too, this idea of a city that's completely ruled over by wizards. And they sort of send people off. So I wrote an adventure. Anaxapogeon. I think that's mine. That's my little spot in the world, because that's from a... that's not going to work. Lost Temple of Anaxapogeon is a adventure that I wrote for Warlock Lairs. Written by me. Yay! I really like it. You get to, it's like an old temple that worships the Cthulhuian monster. I love cultists and temples, if you can't tell. I had to hold back on riddling my new book with cults. My wife held me back. And that was good because it would have been too many cults. There's plenty of cults, don't worry. It is 11 o'clock. I have to go get ready for my game. And anyway, yeah, if you were looking, isn't this great? This is amazing. Oh. If you were looking for another world to play in, if you were looking for more material for your 5th edition D&D game, I cannot recommend Kobold Press stuff. And I'm not even, this isn't in an ad. I buy their stuff. I back their Kickstarters. I just got the Margreave, Tales of the Old Margreave, which is a whole forest-based adventure. And that also has player option book. I buy all their stuff. I back it. It's great. So check out Kobold Press's stuff. Again, that is an unsponsored, I mean, yeah, I write for them on occasion, but I'm not getting paid for this, and they're really good. And keep an eye out next week. So I'm going to try to squeeze in a show between now and the next time we do this prep show, in which I just spend an hour talking about Ruins of the Grendel Root, and I'll show all kinds of stuff. And that's something I want to put up on the Kickstarter. I want the Kickstarter to have launched, and then we will talk about it. So hopefully I will see some of you guys. I know that a lot of times time is the factor, but maybe on YouTube you'll see it as well. And if not, I will see you next Sunday, 10 a.m., and we will see how things go when the characters invade the Cassalanters. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for hanging out in Twitch. Thank you for watching on YouTube, and I will see you guys next week. Go have some fun playing some D&D.